In a world that can be challenging, and at times unpredictable, it's hard to find moments to focus on what you need. Join Stephanie James on The Spark as she guides you to use your inner flame to ignite your best life. As a best-selling author, psychotherapist, transformational life coach, and international show host, Stephanie is dedicated to helping you create a life that takes you, your goals, and your passions to the next level, so you can live a life that is fully lit up and fully alive. She believes that your life is meant to be a beautiful expression of the things that light you up. That by living your dreams, you give permission to others to do the same. Are you ready to feel alive and inspired to fuel your dreams and put a fire behind your desires? Let's ignite a spark in one another that will illuminate the world. The Spark, with your host Stephanie James, starts now.
Welcome to The Spark. I'm your host, Stephanie James. So happy to have you with us here tonight. Wow, we've just been going through so many amazing times right now. And I hope that you continue to feel like you can plug into the things that are positive, the things that bring you joy, the things that enliven you. And tonight we have a guest who is truly plugged in to some of his creative genius. We have with us tonight singer, songwriter, guitarist, artist, sculptor, David Halliwell. David, thank you so much for joining us on The Spark.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's an honor to be here. I really appreciate it.
Well, David, you have obviously an interesting story. We were visiting just a little bit before the interview. And I love the story that you shared around playing the guitar, because when you started playing an instrument, you didn't start with the guitar. Can you share that story with us?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, in the very beginning, I knew I had a creative aptitude, mostly for drawing, for art and painting, but also for music. And so my parents, when I was, I think, 11 years old, got me piano lessons. And God bless her, but the lady who came to teach me was a wrong fit, and we didn't communicate. And I found that I hated the lessons. And I said, well, that's it. I'm not meant to play music. I'll never play music. And I backed out. And then a few years later, when I went to fine art college, I rented rooms, moved out of home into rented rooms in a house where a band was living. And I picked up a guitar in their studio and started fiddling with it and realized that that was my instrument. And ever since, I've been playing the guitar and writing songs, just hundreds of songs. I can't stop myself. It just keeps coming. So I was meant to play music. I just had to find the right instrument, the right vehicle. You know?
Yes. So it sounds like, though, if you were doing art, even as a youngster, it sounds like, were you
Yes.
always in touch with this creative part of yourself, or what was that journey like for you?
Well, in the beginning, and of course, nobody knows who they are in the very beginning. We're all kind of trying to figure that out. But I kept coming back to drawing and coloring. And, you know, the rest of the kids would be out playing soccer, and I'd be at home with my colorings and my drawings, you know, and started to realize after a few years of this that it was a passion for me. So that's when I decided I should go to art college and get serious, and I did. So.
And how wonderful, though, that something, you know, as you were moved to do it, it was like, it was almost sounds like it was this intrinsic part of you.
Absolutely. You know, so many people I hear spend years trying to figure out who they are or what it is they're supposed to do. And I knew from the very beginning that this was what I wanted to do and was meant to do. I even had people lecturing me as a kid, oh, get serious, get a real job. You'll never survive. You know, you shouldn't have these silly dreams. But it consumed me. and I just followed through. And the rest is history. I'm still doing it today. So
Well,
follow your dreams, I think, is the message there. Always follow your dream, no matter what people
beautiful.
say.
Yeah, because even though you had discouragement, you stuck with it. There was
Did.
something, well, there was something that sounds like that was so alive inside of you that it
Yes,
was like, I am going to listen to this inner voice. I'm going to
that's
listen
right.
to this inner yearning and
Yes.
follow this.
And follow that voice. And that's the voice to listen to, not all the naysayers, who think that you shouldn't be doing this for some reason or other. And it was actually difficult at first because except my mum and dad, who obviously believed in me, God bless them, everyone was saying, oh, get serious, get a real job, don't worry. And I had to work against all that opposition in the very beginning. And then I realized that it's nothing to do with what anybody else says or feels. We each have to find what our calling is. And that was mine. And I followed it. And I've never regretted it, ever. So,
Well, I can tell by how you're so lit up by it. And I have to share with the people that are watching this, one of David's paintings is behind him.
oh, right.
Yeah, it's so amazing. I love the perspective. I love the butterflies, the stained glass. What inspired that painting in particular?
Okay, that's a good question. That is one of a series of oil paintings that I did over the last decade on endangered species across the planet. And I realized that species were dying out at an alarming rate, and many, many more were endangered. And that I wanted to say something about that. I wanted to contribute something. So I started creating these paintings about endangered species. And the butterflies happened because I did wonderful ones like tigers and rhinos and pandas and glorious creatures. And then I thought, well, I've got to say something about insects because there are more insects than other species. But of course, everybody hates bugs and spiders, right? But then I went, butterflies. Everybody loves butterflies. And in actual fact, quite a lot of species are gone or endangered right now. So that inspired me to do this painting. And I had this vision of them coming up through the clouds into this temple up in space, up in heaven, that we all migrate. We're all living creatures and we all go through that soul migration at some point. And the butterfly is a symbol of resurrection, of rebirth, because the caterpillar crawls into its cocoon and comes out as this glorious creature. And it's kind of a metaphor for us as our miserable human selves that migrate into a spiritual awakening in life. And so the two themes kind of fit together. Everybody seems to love this one.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. And I love hearing the story behind it. It's always so interesting and inspiring when you hear the actual what was in your heart and mind as
Yes,
it came to conception and as you started to create it.
yes.
So,
There is often a story to my paintings. People have commented upon that. I don't just do a landscape. There has to be something happening in the landscape. There has to be some story behind the story of the picture. So that's the one for the butterflies.
yeah, I love that. I'm curious about your own journey. Obviously I'm hearing some of, some spiritual notes and some deeper awareness of things. When you were going through some of those difficult times of questioning, like, can I really do this? Or, my parents may or may not want me to do this. It sounds like they were very supportive, but maybe the world saying, David, you can't make money at this.
Right.
What is it that besides just listening to that inner voice, were there other circumstances or things in your life that were kind of markers that said, yep, this is what I want to spend my life doing?
Well, as I say, it was a consuming passion. Eventually, it wasn't just a hobby to me. It was all I ever thought about. When I got up in the morning, I was dreaming about what I would draw today, you know, and I would find time between schoolwork and whatever else was going on to take that sketchbook and go do something, you know. So it was always calling to me, always. And it kind of led me into the fine art college. I had a struggle getting in, but I was accepted, even though I didn't have all the credentials I was supposed to have, because the head of the art college recognized my talent. And he said, well, we're going to waive all the rules about having all these credentials because you've obviously got a true talent and a true passion going on. So I was very, very lucky to be accepted at the art college. And that changed my life forever. It became my path, my journey.
Beautiful. Well, then how did it transition, or how did it add or to include the creation of singing, songwriting, and incorporating that, wonderful gift of then playing the guitar?
Well, that came a little later, but music was always there for me because it was in my family background. Particularly, my mum was a beautiful singer, not professionally, but she could have been a professional singer. She was so beautiful. But my aunt and my uncle were professional. And at the family parties, there'd be Bob on the piano and Ivy on the squeeze box, and everybody singing along and dancing along. So music was always a part of my growing up. And then I found my own aptitude for it, as I say, when I discovered the guitar, and started immediately writing my own songs. I mean, they were silly little songs at first. You know, you've got to learn the craft, you know. But I started right in the very beginning. As soon as I could start playing chords on the guitar, I started hearing melodies, and words started to fit with those melodies. And I've been doing that ever since. So, and I find it was many years later, if I can jump ahead,
Yeah.
I'd spent 35 years as a professional artist, graphic designer, illustrator. The music was something I did in the kitchen by myself, you know, as a kind of hobby art. But then after all that time doing the art, I had a massive realization that I can create a beautiful painting. I spend weeks creating this painting and I hang it in the gallery. And I joke with my friend, I said, somebody walks in and goes, wow, that's fantastic. Did you see the movie last night? That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, you know? And I started to realize that a song with meaningful lyrics and a beautiful melody goes straight to the heart. It goes straight to our minds, straight to our thoughts. And it stays with you. Where a painting doesn't do that in the same way. And so that's when I had my big realization that I wanted to now start working in music in a more professional way, and started recording my songs. I recorded a first CD just as an experiment to learn how to work in the studio. And now I'm really excited about doing these song videos. And you've seen one of them. So that's what I'm really impassioned about now, is combining beautiful melodies with meaningful lyrics and touching people's hearts out there. I just want to touch people's hearts, you know, spread some love and some light into this crazy world. It needs love and light. And
It absolutely does.
yeah.
And we're going to need to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking with you more about songs and art and the different things that have lit up your life, and also this beautiful gift of how we share that light with the world. And at the end of the show, we're going to be showcasing David's video, his song video today. I'm so excited to share that with all of you. I have to tell you, David, when I first heard that song, first of all, I had tears in my eyes and I
Wow.
couldn't quit. The melody to me, it just stuck in my heart and in my mind. I mean, I just feel like I was just singing the chorus over and over. I'd find myself in the middle of the day.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so
So,
much.
yes, yes. So I'm so excited to share it with our audience. And so all this and more will be with us when we return. So join us in a moment. Welcome back to The Spark. I'm your host, Stephanie James, and I'm here with artist, singer, songwriter, guitarist, sculptor, David Halliwell. We're just having an amazing conversation, really about what not only lights him up, but really him sharing some of that inspiration and joy with us to follow our dreams, to really become lights ourselves. Because as we follow our own dreams and we really are living that joy, then we can help share that with the world. We can help inspire others. So happy to be here with you, David. Let's talk a little bit. I'm curious to hear just some stories. Now, there's some stories of your life. Obviously, I don't know that you're Canadian. I know that you're in Canada right now, but that accent is telling me something else. So I'm wondering how you got from where you were to where you are now.
Yes, that's a very good question. I was, in fact, born in London, England. And the accent you hear, which has been modified over the years, is Cockney from the East End of London, right? I'm a true Cockney. When in the north east of London, above the river, there's a section there, Bow and Whitechapel and Stepney. And they say, if you were born within the sound of Bow Church's bells, you are a true Cockney. Well, my mum said, when I was being born, the bells were ringing. She could hear the bells of Bow Church. So I am a true Cockney, and that's where I'm from. I went through art college, and that expanded my life and my consciousness considerably from the East End into a global vision. And I embraced that. I was lucky enough to have one person, a family friend who I called Uncle Bert, who was a dear friend of the family, who lived in Toronto. And he sent me a ticket to Canada for my 21st birthday. And he knew I was going through some struggling times right then. And he said, just come over. There's a room in the house where you can set up your easel and your guitar, do whatever you want, stay as long as you want, just come for a holiday. And that was my birthday present from him. So that was my introduction to Canada. I fell in love with Canada and the big, expansive freedom that I felt here, both physically and creatively. It was a brand new start for me. And so from there on, I knew that I wanted to come back. I had to go home to England. But from there on, I was making a plan to somehow get back to Canada. And it happened in a miraculous way. I came over in 1974, and I had one friend in Vancouver, and I wanted to get to Vancouver because I'd heard about the West Coast and how beautiful it was here. So I traveled all the way from Toronto across to Vancouver, and my friend gave me a room downstairs to stay in while I was there. Now, my friend, my only friend here, was an English friend from art college days. He was a graphic designer and a lovely man. And he was working for a company in Vancouver doing graphic design work. And I was here for months. You know, I had no work, had very little money. And he said, Dave, we need some illustration work done. I'm going to talk to the boss. Would you come and do it for us? So the boss looked at my portfolio of my work and went, oh God, yes, let's get this guy in. So I was in this office, and I was just at that time, I was towards the end of my ticket to go back home. And I hadn't found a job yet. I hadn't found any contacts yet that could help me. So I'm sitting in this office, and into this office walks a man with his wife and goes into the boss's office, and he's looking at my portfolio on the boss's desk. There's a glass window I can see, and he's going, who is this? You know, and he's saying, well, it's this guy over here. So he came in and said, I'd like to meet you. Would you come to dinner at my house tonight with me and my wife? And I went, oh, how lovely. You know, maybe I'm going to get a commission, right? And that'll save my ass right now, excuse me.
That's great.
Well, I went to dinner. I got a cab to this place, and it turns out it's Millionaire Road. And I'm thinking I'm at the wrong address, right? So I had dinner with this guy, and his name was George Clark. God bless him. He's gone now. And he was a multi-millionaire art collector. I mean, have I lucked out or what? So he said to me, what's your dream? Everyone in life has a dream in life. What's your dream? And I said, well, my dream is my art and my music. I'm already doing it, but I want to do it here in Canada, and I can't seem to find a way to get here. So he said, okay, I'll get my lawyers on it in the morning. He got his team of international lawyers on my case and got all the obstacles out of the way. So they accepted me and let me come into Canada. And that started my whole new life in Vancouver. It was a miracle, an absolute miracle. And I've come to believe in those, by the way, that if you truly believe, things can happen that we have no control over. And I think there is something else controlling the universe, that it's not us, right?
Yeah.
So that was my start here in Canada. And I've been here ever since.
Such a fabulous story. And I love that. I have had that blessing in my life too, David, where serendipity and divine timing, I mean, everything lines up and doors are opened.
Yes, yes. If so, I have a thing I say to my friends, that the only thing I truly trust is that which I can't see. If I can see it, I'm not so sure. Because we're all fickle and changeable, you know. But that essence, what we call God, I truly believe that there is a love and an intelligence running this whole creation that's beyond anything we can imagine. And it's all created with love. It's all about love. That's what it's all about. We're just learning that down here, I think.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I could not agree with you more. My heart is just so expanded right now and resonating with you so deeply. I feel like we are cohorts in that message.
Yes.
And David, I guess I'm curious for you, so the world has been experiencing so many different challenges right now. How have they or how have they not affected you? And how do you keep yourself kind of buoyed, if you will, above the storm that's been raging through everyone's life in the last couple of years?
That's a very good question, Stephanie, with several answers, I think. The root for me is that faith in God, that there is some kind of divine plan being enacted here. And if you don't mind me quoting from the Bible, there are lots of prophecies about this time in the Holy Book. And they're all saying that we have to go through this great time of confusion and shutdown in order to change everything for the better, because we're not listening. We're not getting it. We are so lost in capitalism and egotism and militarism. We're lost in that. Our whole system is lost in that. And I think it had to shut down like this in order for us to rebuild things in a lighter, more loving way, to see the world in a more loving way. Instead of, trying to get something from it, perhaps trying to give something to it, to share our love for everybody else. And that's what I try and do, is stay in that place. It doesn't mean I'm not challenged like everybody else, because I am. It doesn't mean I'm not scared because of this virus, because I am. But I don't let that fear take me out, because I believe that there is a divine intelligence behind all of this. And the ultimate goal is for us all to wake up and get back to loving each other and sharing the earth and caring for the earth, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, so beautiful, David. I feel like, again, you know, when this whole pandemic hit, I really had that awareness myself. You know, I'd be in meditation and I'd just be really clear that this is the awakening. You know, this is when we're moving to having a more global and, you know, holistic look, that we're all interconnected. Like, humanity is all connected, all going through this. And it is an opportunity to expand our love. And I think sometimes we're given things in opposites, as like a reflection, like when things are very chaotic, or, you know, maybe people's behavior is really ugly or challenging. It actually invites us in to do it opposite, you know, in
Right.
opposite direction, oppositely than what might look like it's being mirrored to us. So instead, you know, I love that, like, Sister Teresa said, you know, I'll never go to a war rally, I'll go to a peace rally.
Right.
And
Right.
that's where I come back to. You know, when I see this ugliness in the world, like you're saying, instead of getting caught by it and getting sucked down into it, it's an invitation for us to say, how can I show up as this light? How can I
Right.
show up as this love? Because when I hold that vibration, this starts to decline, this starts to melt away.
Yes. I think that getting into that place of peace inside yourself, um, into that stance of, I'm here to share love, not to get into an argument with the world, you know. I remember a while ago, I used to be into protest songs about everything that was wrong, what they were screwing up out there, you know. And
Uh-huh.
I'd write songs about protesting this and protesting that. And then I finally stopped and I went, wait a minute, and shared it with a friend of mine, a musician friend. I said, what we're doing is basically wrestling with the devil when we do that. And that means we're not shining our light. And the devil loves that. We're so confused we can't see, right? So I stopped writing protest songs and I started writing today. I started writing songs that exemplify the good in things, the kindness in people, the hope on the horizon, the sun that rises every day to give us a new start. This was all designed for us, you know? And if we get in sync with that, it changes how we are and what we do. So I've decided I'm not writing any more protest songs. I'm going to write happy songs, bright songs, inspiring songs that bring people to that place of love and peace in themselves. So
Exactly.
I'm busy with my pen and my guitar, writing some new stuff.
So fabulous. We need to take another break. David, thank you so much for shining your light and sharing your light with us. We're going to
You're
take a
so
small
welcome.
break and then we will be back for more light, love, and wisdom with David Halliwell. Join us. Welcome back for this last segment of this wonderful conversation with David Halliwell. David is a singer, songwriter, amazing artist, sculptor, and truly just an inspirational voice. I've just been enjoying this conversation so much. David, what is it right now that feels like, yeah, and I'm hearing that these video songs are a passion for yours right now. What else is lighting you up?
I think for me, having a purpose for my art and my music. It's so easy when you become an artist to just get lost in your own world. I did that for a while in the early days. I was stuck in my studio creating my wonderful visions, but they never went anywhere. They never did anything. Some people enjoyed them, but now I feel like I'm sharing this with the world. And things that I create actually touch people and actually move people. I've had people shed tears over my art and my music. I mean, that is the ultimate compliment for me. I mean, to make somebody happy, of course, is my aim, but to move somebody's soul to that degree of emotional content, that feeds me and keeps me writing, keeps me painting, and keeps me playing.
It's so wonderful, and as I shared with you before the break, when I heard your song, the Today song, there's that, the words in the chorus that just say celebrate.
Celebrate,
Yeah, and
celebrate.
celebrate. And
The
I would
lights
just
come.
hear that. Yes. I mean,
Yes.
it just would just, I have the chills right now. And as I said, I would just, after the very first time I heard it, I just heard that melody and those words in my mind, because really to me, it was like celebrating life, celebrating what's here, and that beautiful message of today. Like, we have this beautiful day. We can plug into the light right now,
That's right.
you know?
Today, this
Yes.
minute, this is it. This moment is all there is when you really boil it down. I mean, we can make plans for years ahead that don't happen, but today we can make a difference. Today we can be aware of love. Today we can be aware of light and how we're sharing it. And if we can inspire somebody else to wake up to that, wow, there's another candle someone's lighting in the darkness. And all those candles create more and more light.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. It's contagious, right? When we
Yes,
share our light, when we allow ourselves to be enlightened, I'm putting air
yes,
quotes here.
yes,
Um, but then it's like that inner light radiates out, and that's how we can help lift up one another.
yes.
You know,
And
that's
inspire other people to find that in themselves. You can't do it for somebody else
right.
because it has to come from inside, but you can inspire them to look in and find that for themselves. And that can transform their life with love and light. And
And
then
that's, yeah.
because they get transformed, they touch other people. It is infectious. That's a good word. Love is infectious.
Right. We're not only infected by viruses, we can be infected by
I
love, which is the
love.
strongest virus, if you will.
That's right.
Right. So,
Yes.
and it does spread, and it makes such a difference. So the thing that just came to me, David, is that, creativity with art, music, these things become a portal for love to come through.
That's right. That's right. But once again, you see, you have to make a personal decision because some artists get stuck in dark imagery. They think it's really funky, to paint dark stuff.
Hmm.
Well, that's a personal choice. I had to consciously make that choice in the early days of my art, that I wanted to focus on the light, focus on peace and light in my imagery, and not get lost in the dark side. Sounds like Star Trek. Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
Because there is a dark side, but we're not meant to go there. We're children of the light, and we're meant to spread that light and that love. And if you get in touch with that, it carries you along. It picks you up. It's amazing.
Well, that's the joy, right? I love that. That it does, that you can really be on that river, which is love and light and life in this beautiful, expansive sense. And I think that one of the things you said that really is key is making the choice.
Yes, it is a personal choice for each one of us. In fact, forgive me for quoting the book, but it says multitudes in that time in the valley of decision. We're all in the valley of that decision. Are we going to choose the light, or are we going to choose the other side?
Yeah.
You know, it's a very simple decision that we all have to make. And I know which one I'm going to choose.
Well, I feel like you've already chosen, and you know, and thank goodness. I feel like, you know, when we think of fear, fear to me too is that darkness. It's like it closes us down. It closes down even, you know, our heart center, our breathing, and
Yes.
when we're able to transcend that, you know, some of it's our primitive brain that's trying to protect us. And it's like, oh my goodness, I'm listening to the news and sensing danger, danger, danger. And, you know, we serve ourselves very well by doing limited doses of that. And by not, you know, just focusing on the negativity in social media. And instead, some of these things that I think we were talking about in the beginning, being out in nature. You know, again, I'm seeing those beautiful butterflies behind you, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, when we're in nature and just seeing that live butterfly floating, how we can just connect to the essence of life.
Yes.
And that can bring us back to just this beautiful moment of, in this moment, as I'm taking this breath, observing this butterfly, all is well.
All is well. That's the magic of the peace in finding that within yourself. That's the magic. And it's very important, especially at this time on the planet, not to walk in fear, but to walk in faith and love. You know, don't give way to the fear. Somebody once said to me, I used to think that the opposite of love was hate. But no, the opposite of love is fear. Because when you act from fear, you make all the wrong decisions. You make all the wrong choices. If you act from love, you make all the right choices. So we've got to keep walking in love and walking in faith. And like you say, don't watch the bad news. Don't fill your mind with bad news, because that'll drag you off into the fear, you know?
Yeah, I often think of our bodies as, you know, if we thought of ourselves as our own personal PC, you know, we're the computer. What do we want to download today?
Right.
I don't want to download a virus. I don't want to download a program that's negative and is going to upset my entire system. Instead, I want to be conscious about, what am I downloading? I want to download content, programs that make me feel good.
But
That,
lift your spirits.
yeah, lift my
Yes.
spirits, expand my awareness, bring me joy, help me
Yes.
expand love. So exactly. I mean, I'm again resonating with what you're saying here, that we can
Yes.
focus on those things. We can download those things which connect us to source, which connect us to a higher power and the deeper essence within us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we have just a couple more minutes left here, David, before we share your beautiful song entitled Today. And so in closing, if you had an essential message that you wanted to leave with the audience, what would that be?
An essential message, that's a good one. I think the essential message is linked to what we were just saying. Believe, keep believing that there is a loving kindness to this creation. And we're all a part of that. We mustn't get swept away by fear. We must keep believing in that love and shine your light. Just shine a light in any way you can, you know. Go help that old lady next door, dig her garden for her. Do something to shine a light somewhere.
Well, David, thank you again for shining your light here with us. How can people find you?
Oh, that's difficult. I do, in fact, I've just opened a website because I don't do computers, so a friend did it for me. davidmichaelhalliwell.com is my art site, if you want to see some of my artwork. And I've posted some song videos on YouTube, namely Today, Hearts on Fire, which has a selection of my oil paintings set to a song, and one other, which is called Everybody Got Rain. And that was the last of my protest songs about climate change. So for now, that is how to find me. And I'm David Halliwell BC at gmail.com. If people want to actually communicate with me, I'd be happy to hear from them. So.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, David. Thank you for everything that you are gifting the world with. And thank you for shining your light and sharing so much here with us on The Spark.
Well, Stephanie, I'd like to thank you too, because if it wasn't for you shining your light, I wouldn't be here. And I think what you're doing is fabulous and important to everybody out there. So keep shining your light. And we'll all smile into the future.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so everyone, hang on tight. Get to share this beautiful, beautiful song with you as we wrap up the show today.
Smiles on the streets are claiming the neighborhood together.
Thanks for tuning in to The Spark with Stephanie James. Remember that you already have what you need to live a life that is fully lit and fully alive. You're already holding the flame. Now it's time to ignite your best life. Learn more at stephaniejames.world. That's stephaniejames.world. And tune in next week at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, only on transformationtalkradio.com. Shine on!